Let's Talk, which is now called as Call to Cultivate, has completed 75 episodes. Hello, everyone, and welcome once again. So, today's episode is going to be a really special episode. After this, we complete 75 episodes. That is only 24 episodes more to be done to complete the 100th episode, which we are all waiting for so much. So, today I'm going to share with you all an honest lessons which I have learned throughout my life, particularly regarding relationships and self-improvement. Let's go. Welcome to the Girl Talk Part 2. Firstly, I will share a life update. So, 2 weeks back, my normal routine started after a 2 week or 11-day long vacation. Like, I went to Goa, and also, like, there are many tasks to be done regarding coding, regarding placements, regarding the Meraki, which is the annual day. So, yes, I'm really busy. And yes, in the 25th episode we did girl talk. In the 50th episode we had a Q&A. In this episode also I actually plan to do a Q&A, particularly regarding tech questions. But yes, I wasn't being able to. I have created a blog of my own, so yes, do check, and link is in description box. I really struggle with relationships, friendships, and also self improvement issues. So we will share some 10, 12. The first is don't be desperate. So I've addressed some of these things in the 25th episode. Do check. So what is the meaning of being desperate? So it means to be so much you want to gain attention that you do anything, even wrong things like crazy stunts, in order to win someone, particularly in the case of romantic relationships, which is like really wrong. Regarding the romantic relationships, you should understand that not everyone is for you. Some are not at all for you. You should not only believe in the love lie, but you should recognize the differences, the values, the culture, or whatever differences, and even the financial things, because they do matter. You should not be desperate to get that guy. He will naturally come to you when the time is right. So, yes, be patient, trust in God's timing, and strive to be the best version of yourself. This is even applicable for men. The habit of approaching boys and girls, I've really struggled. And whenever I tried to be like that, I wasn't able to have that particular program or a particular activity done successfully. In fact, in many ways, the things got backfired also. So yes, you should be really careful. If they don't want, don't approach them. Just mind your own business. Second is be mindful of how you act or talk. Sometimes, like when I talk to my friends, I speak anything in my mind. Sometimes even the topics which are irrelevant or like are not talked about by the entire group during that moment. Like for example, once like I suddenly asked them, what are you talking about? And so I realized how much attention deficit, like I was not paying attention to them. And yes, the talking in between thing happens. So you have to be really mindful. Sometimes, like when I was like particularly in school, I used to act kind of like weirdly, like in some moments, and like many people looked at me like that, and they started to think of me like that. And whenever like if you act a little bit weirdly, if you talk weirdly, people don't like you or don't want to talk to you. And so you have to be really mindful, especially online where there are proofs. Once I posted about on Snapchat about my friend, and she didn't want that. And yes, I invaded her privacy kind of. So yes, you have to respect each other and be really careful, because there is anybody who can see you. The third is be partial. Now this might sound a little bit radical, but being partial does not mean being discriminatory or being hateful. It simply means to treat different people differently. Like, keep some friends as special. Like, I have a great friends, like, I have a lot of friends, juniors, seniors, or from other colleges, other career fields, ones, etc. But there are a few selected 4 to 5 with whom I share my secrets, with whom I talk personal things, with whom I trust more. So yes, you should have a good amount of friends, good amount of networking connections, but don't treat everyone as a friend, because they don't. And you have to understand that some are colleagues, some are friends, some are to be talked rarely, some are to not be supposed to share secrets, etc. Otherwise, like, I used to share everything about my deepest darkest secrets and thoughts to my frenemies in school, and that led me to a huge problem in 8th grade. Like, literally, the principal told me to not do this, else I would get fired. So that was really problematic. The fourth is, don't trust anyone 100%. This might be a really tough topic, especially for those who have lots of friends, or like, this is particularly like, even I tell to not trust your parents or your relatives or even yourself fully, not because you hate them, but because sometimes there are cases where, like, they don't know much or they cannot understand. Of course, in many ways you should trust your trustworthy friend or your parent, but in exceptional cases, like, you have to understand, you have to have your own voice. Basically, you should have your own opinion and being able to express. And also, you should seek guidance from parents, because they know what is right and wrong, but it's ultimately up to you. Like, because of, like, certain choices, sometimes, like, they told me once that the farewell party no one will attend, and that's why I stayed out of station. And when that happened, it was a really fun, and I really missed my farewell party of my 11th 12th academy. And that is why I realized to not trust anybody. Like, this was in the context of my grandparents, but still, you should only trust God fully. The fifth thing is, self sacrificial love over self seeking love. Now, self sacrificial love means not literally dying for someone else, but it basically means to put others before yourselves. And this is a really tough thing, especially when the self love movement is so much normalized. Now, I'm not against self love, but you should not be narcissistic in the guise of self love. Sometimes, I struggle, obviously. I'm loud, I'm short tempered, etc. But later, when I think about some consequences, I realize how much I regret. And yes, self sacrificial love could also sound like sharing your pen, or giving some tiffin, or teaching them some important points, or giving notes, or sharing a chocolate, or even participating in a competition with them, or helping a family in the kitchen, in the housework, etc., instead of mindlessly scrolling through your phone. When you help your family, friends, or anyone in mundane things, you may not feel good at that moment, because in many ways that's kind of boring. But you will ultimately feel joyful. Your relationships will also improve. The sixth thing is good. The sixth is extremely important, especially if you are a Christian. Glorify God in whatever you do. I saw a YWLS video of Alibeth Stuckey, of my favorite Christian influencer, one of those, giving a very beautiful speech. She told that whatever you do, whoever you are, your ultimate calling is to glorify God, like in whatever task He has given. And this thing impacted me, because I thought that what is my purpose, and as Christians, what to do. So yes, to glorify God, whether through coding, or whether through web designing, or whether through household work, or whether through event management, whatever I'm doing, even this content creation, do it for the God and not for man. You should understand that our calling as Christians is to deny ourselves and take up the cross. So yes, in whatever spectrum you are, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a homemaker, whether you're a pastor or a missionary, whatever you are, you should glorify your God with different callings. And this is really important. This also gives you a reality check of, like, not self worship, and also it makes you more easier to differentiate between right and wrong. It also affects your eternity, and you have to understand that life is not about you, it's about God. To do whatever you want, it's great that you will achieve fame, you should do something for you too, but ultimately the precedence should be given to God. The seventh is, control your anger and tongue. I told that as a short tempered, as an Aries, as a fire sign basically, I really struggle, like, especially among my maternal relatives who mostly belong to water signs like Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. It makes it me really difficult to navigate, and like especially that times I struggle with anger. I have short temper. Like I blabber anything. Like I also went out my anger both offline and online, which has like created disturbances in my relationship with friends and also social media followers, and like with controversial posts I react. Or once I like was really frustrated with my maternal family, and also I was so angry that I vented out to my best friend by messaging it. And I spoke in very angry poor communication way, and she was like really close friend of mine. She was sharing secrets, etc. But later she told that if do you have psychosis, and I'm going to block you. And up till date, except like once or twice, probably on her birthday, we didn't exchange a single hello. So this really reality checked me. Now still I struggle, but yes, your tongue is a double-edged sword, and you have to be really careful with what you talk. Fact check everything twice, at least twice, because what many people these days many people are lying to you, even with anger, because it could not only destroy things but could destroy many lives of people. Remember that when the tongue you speak something, it does not come back. So you have to be really careful with what you talk. Always think twice what you are talking so that you can filter it out. Discernment is really essential in today's times. You can also practice mindful meditations or some retreats, practice self care, travel, or ride a bike so that you will be able to be the best version of yourselves. You will only get rejection. The eighth is accept the sad, bad, mad reality. Now, my relative is in Sweden, and then she encourages me to live there in foreign country, which I think is great. But like I also met another woman during an event who lived in Germany, and she told that her like she really struggled, and that woman was more realistic than my aunt. And you have to understand that reality, especially in this sinful world, is not good in many ways, and you have to be bad in some cases. You cannot be an extremely good pious person. Like this is really sad, but that is the reality. You have to be really aware of the things. You have to be mature. If you're not like matured enough, you won't be able to live in this bad cruel world. You have to be aware of the latest news about what is happening at the moment, which I really sometimes struggle. You have to develop some key skills like cooking or riding or spending money, etc. You have to have a clear mind of whom to trust, whom not to trust. So, yes, this is extremely crucial. Being mindful is essential in non verbal things too.
Don't do something big in your emotional extremes, whether happy or angry.
The ninth is revenge in a correct way. So, what does this mean? Once I watched a serial and the heroine did not do any malicious thing to plot a revenge against the hero, because the hero had pushed her from the bridge, and that is why she decided, and she decided to do it during the right time in the right place. She did by handling the business operations really successfully to promote to do ethical business to promote and to do ethical business, and then ultimately destroy him, because like not by killing but by defeating him in the business world. So see, if you do anything to do revenge, you won't be ultimately super successful in wrong ways. See, we are ultimately not called to take revenge, it's God's responsibility. But if you really like to take it, do it in a way so that you will be successful, because that person does not is not your well wisher. Especially if you someone is not your well wisher, you should understand it through their body language. You should not tell them everything first of all, and in order to defeat them, don't try to kill or steal their things, but do it in a way that you will be successful and ultimately they will lose. And the 10th and the most important lesson is disagreement thing. So like I many ways disagree. For example, with the like I argue with my mom regarding many things, like some are personal, but regarding some actors or regarding particular products which contain hyaluronic acid, hair colors, etc. And like we disagree, I disagree with my sister, disagree with my friends. But I really like sometimes went out my anger, which is really problematic. So, how to deal with disagreement? You have to recognize that every person is different. Especially if you know that person, you should understand its history, the context, or the reason, logical reason, which every time they don't need to explain it to you. And if you're disagreeing, you have to be taking some deep breaths or close your eyes and like sit like a meditation pose for a while, which will really help you, and that has really helped me. Or do some another task that will be really great. But you have to understand that respectfully disagreeing with someone is extremely essential, especially if you're in the corporate world. I firmly believe that you should be like really respectful to those. Now every time you cannot do that, but as much as possible you should do that. Things I learned is like not to be do procrastination, and not to like focus on scrolling, which I really struggle. I strive to do another tasks, or I leave it all up, and sometimes I talk to myself. Self talk has really helped me. Or I spend some time to develop my skills, to develop websites, or to develop projects, which has really helped me.
Whenever it is not necessary of you to talk, just shut up. Shutting up is much better than being insulted by someone else. Instead of unnecessarily arguing with someone, just mind your own business and do your work. Ignore them. Then only the problem will get solved.
Thank you guys for listening to this important episode. This was a really raw episode which I decided to talk about, so that you will also gain ideas on how to act and how to deal with certain friendship issues. Bye.